Good morning. I'm going to speak from the heart this morning in my card chat. I wasn't sure I wanted to do a card chat this morning just because it's, when you're going through a tribulation, a lot of times you have good days and you have bad days, and today was just one of those days where I felt like if I talk too much, I'm going to turn into a blubbering mess. But I was just thinking about a verse as I'm here driving. I was thinking about the Bible talks about how the Lord is not a Lord who hasn't gone through what we go through. That Jesus was touched with the feelings of our infirmities, yet without sin. And I realized, I was thinking about it, what are the two things that are really causing me pain right now? Well, there's betrayal. There's the feeling of someone I love betraying me. And there's being forsaken. I mean physically and spiritually and emotionally forsaken. And then I realized, right at the time, right when Jesus was ready to be killed, was ready to be put to death on the cross, Jesus dealt with both of these things, didn't he? I mean, the Garden of Gethsemane, he was betrayed by a man named Judas Iscariot, who had been one of his church members. He had been part of that church that Jesus had started. One of his closest members. One of the 12 that he had chosen to be his disciples, betrayed him. And oh, by the way, he also had the devil inside of him. So just keep that in mind before you betray somebody. Or when somebody betrays you, by the way. There was a devil inside of that person, of that man when he did that. But Jesus went through the same thing. He got betrayed with a kiss. Betrayest thou the Son of Man with a kiss? So I guess he is touched with the feeling of that infirmity, isn't he? And then what about being forsaken? What about being abandoned? While he was on the cross, what did he say? One of the things that Jesus said on the cross was, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Now we know he was quoting Psalm 22, which was a prophecy that David wrote in Psalm 22, I think it was. It was a prophecy that David had written. But Jesus felt the forsaking of his own Father. Why? Well, let me understand the reasoning why. We understand that Jesus was carrying the sins of the world on his back, on his head, really. That's what the thorns represent. He was carrying the sins of the world on his head. And God cannot accept sin. He cannot look at sin. So he turned his back on Jesus while Jesus was bearing that burden. And Jesus said, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? So that's yet another infirmity that Jesus had to endure. Now, it doesn't make it necessarily a whole lot easier to sit here and have to deal with it myself, but it puts into perspective that the God of the universe, the one who bore my sin on that cross, the sin of my wife on that cross, the sin of my kids on that cross, that bore your sin. All that who watch this and who don't watch this. He bore your sin on that cross. Really was touched with the same feelings of the same infirmities that I'm being dealt with right now, that I'm having to live with in my life right now. Blows the mind to know that the God of the universe had to live through the same struggle that I'm living in right now, the hardest thing I've ever gone through my entire life, and he had to deal with it and then get nailed to a cross, or in one case, while he was nailed to a cross. That gives you something to think about if you listen to this. I love you. I really hope it puts some perspective into things for you.